What's up? What's up? What's up, fam? It's your girl Nick. So guess what, y'all? It's been a crazy couple of weeks. From last Tuesday until now, your girl just been on the go. And I've been feeling some kind of way, feeling some kind of anxious, feeling some kind of everything. And I really do, after all of these conversations this month, feel like I have some level of ADHD because I can't turn my mind off. I can't focus. And I just keep going and 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 going. I just can't get it together. But what's up, Evan? How you doing tonight?
Oh, just taking it one day at a time. It's just
So it's been a cool week for you.
yeah, it's been pretty cool. No complaints. Just trying to stay as productive as I can.
No, I get that. I get that. Me too.
Yeah,
It's
how's your week been?
crazy. It's just been crazy busy, just crazy. But I still feel like I'm not focusing correctly. So, you know. But we're gonna jump into tonight, y'all. It's ADHD Awareness Month, the month of October. And I chose ADHD because in our community, we don't really talk about what ADHD is. We don't understand what it is. We don't know what resources we have available. We don't know what we're supposed to do if we think we might have ADHD. So, I was like, that's going to be our focus for the month of October. So, wanted to just remind you guys that ADHD is a brain condition. I refuse to call it a disease. It is a condition. It is a condition that you should go to your doctor for referrals to get diagnosed. And when I say for referrals to get diagnosed, what I'm speaking of is have the conversation with your doctor, your child's pediatrician, um, or your own doctor. Um, so those professionals can refer you to a psychologist and in or a psychiatrist, and in with regards to the kids, a a pediatric neurologist, a pediatric and children's psychologist, psychiatrist, because you want to make sure that your child is properly diagnosed, and you want to make sure you are properly diagnosed. Remember, there are three types of ADHD. So you can have ADHD inattentive, ADHD hyperactivity slash impulsive, and ADHD combo, which is a combination of inattentive and hyperactive impulsive. But again, it is a brain condition that is treatable. So this week, we're going to talk about ADHD resources, and we'll jump into um, resources that are available for children for students, and for adults. So after this, we will be right back. We want you guys to comment and we want you guys to call in 214-556-6239. We'll be right back.
Straight from the Mint Factory, so fine. Remix, straight for the 9-4. I know this cutie, her name is so fine. She got me feeling for her sex like every time. But she ain't the type to give it up quick. She likes to take it slow and let them suckers lose. No, see, you can spend your money and you can wine and dine. But if you ain't down, she won't give you the time. And then I gotta do it just to go through it. Cause she's so fine. The real though, should you be mine? Damn, those pretty brown eyes is driving me wild. Can't nobody else flex the way you glow. And now I'm up to bat. Can I hit it? So fine, you gotta leave the lights on. Cause I got to keep you in your black silk thong. And it's on. Let this slow jam play, and we can get our freak on. Cause I'm on a quest to make you mine. And I just can't stop swinging. Cause you're so fine. And I gotta do it. Got to go through it. Hey, you're so fine. I'm the real though. Could you be mine? Your pretty brown eyes are driving me wild. I'm the real seal. Could you be mine? Fine. Yeah. I get to peep you in that black silk thong. We gon' let this slow jam ride. I wanna know, can I too? Come on. Turn the lights down low. I wanna get into a flow. So fine. Hey, hey, so fine. You mine. Can we let it play? You got me swaying. Freak on. Gonna get some freak on. Want you to be mine. Got to be mine. Hey. And I got to hit it. I'm not gonna quit it. Shit sound good, Miss G. Can't nobody flex the way you do. Come on, why don't you get in? Shut the door and get cozy. You and your friends was looking crazy flying in the club tonight. But I couldn't fit all of them up in here. Never what we're about to do. So I got to get freaky. Pretty eyes. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. You ain't ready for that. Can I kiss you? So fine, you blow my mind. So take it off. And I ain't talking about that lipstick either. Yeah, there you go. You know where I'm going, don't you?
All right, y'all, we back. So, resources. Let's start with the babies. So, if you suspect that your babe has ADHD, you should go to your pediatrician and have a conversation and explain to your pediatrician what it is your child is doing. A lot of the times, um, as our children are entering pre-K and kindergarten, first grade, they will be pegged as possible ADHD if they exhibit certain certain behaviors. And so we had talked about earlier that if your child has like 6 out of the 5 symptoms of ADHD, then they probably have ADHD. So let's talk about the symptoms. Symptoms such as um, an inattentive, symptoms such as trouble paying attention, they're easily sidetracked, they avoid or don't like long mental tasks like homework. Um, they have trouble staying on task while they're in school. Um, Not only do they have trouble staying on task while they're in school, but even at home or even when they're like on the weekends just hanging and chilling with their friends. Um, they're disorganized and it seems like that they're really forgetful. They don't appear to listen directly. They don't pay close attention to the details. They lose things a lot. They make careless mistakes and they struggle when they're following through with directions. If they have 5 or more or 6 or more of these kind of symptoms, the teachers will probably talk to you about your child having ADHD and attentive type. If they're hyperactive or impulsive, you'll look for symptoms like blurting out answers before a question is finished, constantly interrupting others. They don't like to wait for their turn. They talk too much. They fidget, they tap, they squirm all the time. They get up when it's not appropriate. Um, Especially like when the teacher is talking to them or it's the middle of dinner and they're just getting up, like getting up. They run or climb in inappropriate situations. They don't play quietly and they're always on the go. So that's like ADHD, hyperactivity, impulsive type. And then there's the one that's a combination of both inattentive and hyperactivity impulsive. So if your child is exhibiting any of those symptoms and it's 5 or more, um, they're probably going to be tagged by their teachers as possibly having ADHD. Um, so in school age children, like I said, it kind of starts at school where you'll get a notice that we may need to test your child. But if that happens, don't be afraid. Don't get upset. Don't get, you're going to be concerned. I would say do your research, immediately call your pediatrician, discuss these things with your pediatrician. Think about what your child is doing at home and not just at school. Think about what they're doing at home. Think about what they're doing when they're with loved ones on the weekend or just kind of chilling. And if you're seeing that, when you have the conversation with your pediatrician, you can talk about what you've observed at home, and you can also talk about what they are observing in the school place. Then you need to ask your pediatrician for a referral to a pediatric neurologist or a child psychologist or a child psychiatrist. That way, you can attack this with people who know something about ADHD. As we were talking to our guest last week, Miss Jolanda, Keita, there are a lot of people out here who claim to know about ADHD, but they have no background, no studying, no dealings, no expertise in ADHD. So when you're talking to your pediatrician, make sure you're asking for referrals for people who actually specialize in ADHD in children, and ask to see their references.
Right.
Don't just say, oh, okay, well, the doctor said this person. Do some research on your own, because, again, you want to be able to make an informed choice when you're dealing with your children and a possible ADHD diagnosis. Your thoughts?
My thoughts. So I'm a little, I'm a little conspiracy theorist. So sometimes I'm not gonna lie. So I always would like, if I was doing research and I found out my kid had ADHD, I'd probably be looking for the first things I could do before actually needing to get like a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I was gonna ask you if you knew any things that might help with it, at least at the very minimum, help a little bit with the symptoms to start off.
So we're not going to get into treatments this
Okay.
week, just
Okay.
resources.
Oh, I'm jumping ahead.
We're jumping ahead, but that's okay, because
All
that's
right.
a good question. Um, when we were going through this with my godsons,
Mm,
um, we started looking at, because we weren't trying to medicate the godchildren, like we weren't.
right.
So we started doing research about like what it looks like to put them in sports, what it looks like to put them in activities that can help focus the energy.
Yeah.
So I agree, medicine is not the answer all the time. Um, which is the other reason I'm saying, when you're looking at resources because you're dealing with ADHD, talk to your doctors first, because your pediatrician may be able to, like, while you're having that conversation, the pediatrician is going to be able to tell you, okay, here are some options.
Yeah.
And pediatricians don't always, you know, prescribe medicine first.
Yeah.
Sometimes after conversating with the pediatrician and the doctors, you can come up with a plan to make sure before we even approach the subject of medication.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm saying, as parents, loved ones, caregivers of children who may possibly have ADHD, your first line of defense is your own research and your pediatrician. Not that school counselors and school educators are not versed
Right.
at what this is and options, but you don't want to just go with the first thing smoking. You want to always do your research so you can have options. And not everybody is going to respond to medication. Medication doesn't always work for each child. And each child, in my opinion, should be approached holistically, like in a whole fashion, because you don't know. There are so many things that can contribute to moments of ADHD, as I like to refer to them. Um, and just because a kid is, really hyper, not really paying attention, it doesn't mean it's always ADHD.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying, first line of defense, make sure you have a conversation with not only the educators, who will probably be your first, oh, we might have an issue here, but talk to your pediatrician, because your pediatrician knows your child.
Mm,
It's your pediatrician. Like, you should be able to have those conversations with your pediatrician. So just remember that ADHD symptoms for children start before age 12, and in some children, noticeable as early as age 3. So they can be mild, they can be moderate, they could be severe, and they can continue into adulthood. Like, but that's why I'm saying I don't like to consider ADHD as a disease. It is a condition that is very treatable. There are things you can do that can help kind of um, mitigate whatever symptoms you have, but you got to know your resources first. So when it comes to the kiddos, your first line of defense should be talking with your pediatrician, and then kind of thinking about, as you have that conversation with your pediatrician, thinking about, is my child doing some of this stuff at home as well, or is it just in the school, or is it outside of school and home? Is it all over? Because when you're having that conversation, that helps kind of um, focus the intent on what we're trying to do, which is help the children. Now, once you get to that point, you have resources in the schools. So your resources in the schools are going to be your counselors, your teachers, your administrators, and they're going to develop a plan of action. Some of the plans include ADHD treatment, special education services, and accommodations. So you want to make sure that, once you talk to your pediatrician, once you've gotten the specialist, either the pediatric neurologist or the child psychiatrist and child psychologist, you come up with a plan that's viable for your child. That does not always mean medicine. That could be a combination of things, but your resources in the schools are going to be your counselors, your teachers, and the administrators. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we'll talk about resources for adults. And then we'll talk about like some national and local resources. We'll be back.
You send me swinging. Oh, you send me swinging. Wait for the day. Sweet people sway. Turn to the right, right way. Oh, you send me swinging. You send me swinging. Oh, you send me swinging. I never thought I'd really find someone so beautiful and kind. Oh, what you've done to me with just the little things you do. You got me crazy over you, and it's getting stronger. I'm with you. I'm falling deeper in love. Swag. This feeling is the one thing my heart is sure of. So I wait for the day. Sweet little sway. Sweet little sway. That's the way. Run to the right. Just thinking about you and all the things that we could do. If only you could see how sweet your love is to me. So heavenly. No one knows where to say just how I feel for you. See, every day that passes, my heart swings closer. swinging on you, swinging on you, baby. Chick a boom boom, chick a boom boom, swinging on you, swinging on you. When I'm with you, I'm gonna be forever. Feeling is the one thing, and my heart is sure of. So oh, you know you swinging me round and round. My heart is a joyful song, waiting for you to come my way. I'll be my way. Run to the right, run to my way. Thinking now. Come and swing on
All right, and we're back.
See me swinging.
Man,
That's a good
Gabe
one.
made some good picks this week. I'm gonna challenge him for next week too. I think I'm gonna challenge him with let's think of an artist.
No artist.
I think I'm gonna either have him do Boys to Men or
Boys to Men. I was actually thinking about that too. Boys to Men. Jodeci is. I don't know. What you think?
either Boys to Men or Josie. I'm gonna think about that. We're gonna have Gabe. No, it's another challenge. Challenge. But he knows I love music, so but those were good picks for the songs this week. Oh my gosh. Send me swinging. Okay. Focus, Adrian. Focus. See, good music and now I can't focus. Okay. Adults. What I'm going to say, just briefly for adults, refer to the last segment on children because it's the same for you and me and all of us adults. Go to your doctor, have a conversation with your doctor. And as adults, we don't necessarily tell the truth. It's your doctor. Go have a conversation with your doctor. If you think these symptoms that we talked about earlier apply to you, have a conversation with your doctor, a honest conversation.
I wanted to add something because I'm the guy I'm skeptical. I don't always want to listen to my doctor, quote unquote, every time. But if you have that conversation, use your own discernment. You know what I mean? You don't have to do 100% everything the doctor tell you, but if the doctor say that it's necessary for you to take it, you should probably take it.
Well, but we're not even talking about medicine at this point. We're saying have the conversation so you can get properly diagnosed. And so when I say like a truthful conversation, an honest conversation, be real with your doctor about what symptoms you think that you're experiencing so that your doctor can refer you to the proper person, either a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and hopefully one that specializes in ADHD. That way, you can start talking about treatment options once you get the proper team in your corner. So, as an adult, have a conversation with your doctor so your doctor can refer you to the psychiatrist or psychologist so they can do what is necessary to properly diagnose you. It all starts with honest conversations with your doctor. All right. Now that we've said that, other resources. So, y'all know I love research. Like, I'm always doing research, always doing research. So, get your pens out and get ready. The National Resource Center on ADHD. That is one place. Once you go to their website or call them, I'm an internet person. I love researching stuff. And so once you go to the national website, it will drill down based on, they give you general information, but it also drills down based on your area. So, the National Resource Center on ADHD. Option number 2, the National Institute of Mental Health. I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. This is a brain disorder. Brain, which means mental. So anytime you deal with mental issues or mental conditions, however you want to term it, whatever works for you that you resonate with, if you go to the National Institute of Mental Health, they can give you additional resources and tools. And these websites, you guys, are free. This is free information right at your fingertips. So then the criteria for ADHD, you can find that in D as in David, S as in Sam, M as in Matthew dash 5. That is the criteria for ADHD. If you search for that, it will pull up a wonderful, wonderful resource that breaks down what this condition um and the is and the criteria for being diagnosed. And this DSM-5 is what most doctors, most mental professionals use to help diagnose ADHD. So if you do a Google search for D as in David, S as in Sam, M as in Matthew, dash 5, you'll be able to see what the medical professionals, what the mental health professionals are using as a criteria for the diagnosis of ADHD. The Center for Disease Control. That one kind of hit me because, again, I don't like thinking about ADHD as a disease, but the Center for Disease Control has a lot of resources, free videos, free materials, all about ADHD. So normally we say the CDC. So cdc.gov is their website, but they have tons of material on ADHD. Another resource for you, Talkiatry, Talkiatry. This is an online resource for those people who don't like going in to see an actual doctor. This is a online resource that provides specialty counseling for people with ADHD. They have counselors and resources and coaches, psychiatrists, psychologists that specialize in ADHD. ADHD, really? I can't talk today. ADHD. So again, it's Talkiatry. Talkiatry. Another resource is CHAD, Children and Adults with Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. CHAD has ample resources as well. And again, I'm going back to letting you guys know these are all free resources. All of the research I did this month in preparing for these shows and talking with different people, I found through Chad, I found through the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, I found through AADA, um, Attention Association of Attention. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's AADA. Their website was a very useful resource for me this month. And they referred me to all kinds of people. So children and adults with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are known as CHAD, CHAD. The American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, another great website with lots of information, lots of tips and tools. They can even refer you to psychiatry professionals. So, again, free resources. All you have to do is go to the internet, type these names in, um, and the information will pull up. Additude, ADDITUDE. This is a publication for people with ADHD. And what they have is information on symptoms, resources. They have articles. They have things you can do to help you kind of navigate your way through a ADHD diagnosis. But it's called Attitude, ADDITUDE. And my last link for you today is Fusion Academy. Fusion Academy is a website where you can go to, and if you have a child that is diagnosed with ADHD, this organization basically does helps direct your child in their educational pursuits. They have professionals that are versed in ADHD that will help your child develop a great learning path um, despite ADHD. So check them out, Fusion Academy. No, that was a whole lot.
That was.
So again, I just tell people learn how to research for yourself. Um, Avail yourself of all the information that is available at your fingertips, because when you're dealing with ADHD, um, it's not that this is something that is not treatable. You have to remember this is a brain disorder that can be treated. It is a brain disorder that you can still function with. um, you know, it may be challenging at times, but resources are here to help you. So, from your first line of defense, which is your doctors, your psychiatrists, your psychologists, your counselors, your coaches, um, that's your first line of defense. The other resources are these organizations out here that help people with ADHD because they focus on ADHD. When you're using your first line of defense, always make sure that your psychiatrists, your coaches, your psychologists, your counselors are people who are versed in ADHD. You don't want to just fall for the okey doke. So ask for resources, ask for referrals, ask to see their CVs, ask how long that they've been focusing on ADHD, ask what kind of training that they were involved in. Um, you have the ability to get their credentials and check them out.
Right. Right. Ooh, I also thought maybe people could find Facebook groups online of people who have to deal with ADHD, or
Yes.
they have children with ADHD, and they understand how the symptoms, affect every person. So yeah, you can always find just some people to talk to online. I
Yes.
would definitely say don't go meet no crazy person you met online about it, but you can at least read what they put on there and figure it out for yourself.
Exactly. That was going to be my other thing is use social media. Like we're all on social media all the time. There are Facebook groups, there are YouTube channels, there are Instagram groups. And if you put in ADHD professionals, you will get a list of people on social media um, that have experience dealing with ADHD. Again, though, please do yourself a favor and check their credentials so you know that you're dealing with someone that is reputable. Um, Now, organizations that provide these free, tools, tips, information. So, again, I'm going to remind you again the National Resource Center on ADHD, National Institute of Mental Health, Center for Disease Control, Talkiatry, Children and Adults with Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, better known as CHAD, American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, Attitude, ADDITUDE, Fusion Academy. And if you want to become versed on what the criteria for ADHD is, Google DSM 5. Evan, any questions?
Most of my questions are going to be revolving around treatments, so I'm gonna just hold off because that to me that's where I'd be at. As far as the resources, I think that you touched basis on all of the best things that you could probably say, as far as going and reaching out to your doctors and getting getting the proper diagnosis and making sure that you know what you're doing. I think that you hit all the points with that. So no questions for me tonight.
Okay. Well, we're gonna give y'all back some time tonight. So it's been a great show. We'll see you guys same time, same channel next week. And we're looking forward to closing out ADHD Awareness Month with a discussion on treatment, coaching, counseling, and all things in between when it comes to how we can treat ADHD symptoms. See you guys next week. Peace.
It feels so good when I'm with you. Pure ecstasy. Yeah. It's just the little things you do.